So can a Tamiya truck fly? How do? So we've got Rusty here and a fair amount of, I won't say upgrades, there is a few upgrades. A lot of stuff is just standard parts from what was a Tamiya Grand Hauler once upon a time. And I was thinking of using a lot of that stuff and putting it onto Rusty. This now has all the metal upgrades and everything else, so all this is kind of obsolete to that truck. But I thought it'd look cool on Rusty. It's kind of not what I'm going for with the truck and making it look sheeny shiny. So I've had quite a hell of a process with this at the minute, mentally. As it's looking a bit shiny and stuff like that, I just want to restore the whole thing, restore the cab, but then it takes away what this truck is all about to me. This has been one really trusted truck to me, and it has never ever ever let me down, and it has probably been the most used RC that I own. This goes out in the snow, in the woods, through mud, through water. It's out in all conditions. He's even been out drifting on drift wheels. I've tractor pulled him a few times, pulling weights. I've actually just loaded up with weightlifting weights, pulling him up hills through the woods. It's been a guinea pig for a lot of demonstrations and stuff, and one of them demos was this rust, which I still do need to clear off, because as we know, these are fiberglass bodied trucks in the real world and they wouldn't rust. But for the demo at the time, it was just perfect because it's called Rusty. As it's been a trusted guinea pig, I thought I'd guinea pig him one more time, and I'm going to show you guys why really not to use a standard motor in them. What we're going to do with Rusty is we're going to put this standard motor in. We're going to lock the gearbox into a third gear because it's mental, and we're going to run it on a 3S LiPo, not a 2S, just to give it a little more oomph. And we're going to take him to the skate park. Hopefully while we're there, I will get a little bit of air off something and break this servo. You're thinking, why would you want to break a servo? Well, this just cheap old ass piece of crap servo, which has probably been in here since 1970, whenever this truck come out. It's just never failed through all the stuff it's been through, and I don't like that servo. So hopefully we can get that thing to die today. We may strip gears in a gearbox, we may not strip gears in a gearbox. Then when we come back, we'll have a little look through these parts. I'll explain a little more what's happening with these trucks behind me. Yeah, I know one thing at once, I said, one thing at a time, and I now have 1, 2, 3, 8 trucks on the go at the minute. I'm just gonna rip the gearbox out of Rusty, swap this motor over, put this Tamiya King thing wherever that's gone. Wow, I thought all these bolts would have been like naturally rusted into here. This thing's not been out since I first got it and put that in. All the axles are like proper rusty though and oxidised and stuff. That's cool. What a rotten thing. It's in pretty good nicker considering. Bear in mind, this is just on a 3S at the minute. Normally you wouldn't do that, you would use them on a 2S, but I'm just kind of exaggerating things a little bit. Just let me show you the whizzes of the wheels on this now. That's mental. It's just a truck, pal. Got Rusty there. And a Rusty trailer. All the roughs and bumps. This was a Hercules trailer. The hardware on these aren't the greatest, but the builds themselves aren't too bad. It'll do for this task. So I'm not just going to go full shebang straight into it. I'm not here to like bash the truck or intentionally try and break the truck. So as I said, I'm exaggerating this a little bit. So we're on 3S rather than 2S. I've locked the gearbox into third, which is the highest gear, and I've replaced the poison motor, which is a nice, slow, torquey, smooth motor, and put the standard Tamiya 27 turn cam back in there. It will be a little bit nuts for a truck that's trying to set off the smoothest way possible, and it fair scoots. Whee! That kind of nice and smooth. Whoa. You ain't really going to get around the skate park efficiently with a trailer on. So I took the grippy tyres off this with having the dog in case he bites my wheels off, but it's on its own. Come on, try again, full pelt, whee! That one was an accident. Trying to do skids. Woo! I really have had fun. Like really lots and lots of fun. But we'll get him back. Assess the damage. If his Al broke, we'll fix it. It would appear that that servo lives for another day. So can a Tamiya truck fly? Yes, it can. It kind of does it with style as well. Nothing has broken on the truck other than we smashed the front side of the bumper on. But I'd put the rest of the rear bumper on that I'd previously chopped up to make the headlights on this. Because I had a feeling on impact that would snap, and it just seemed pointless just snapping a bumper for nothing. Did sound a little bit grindy in the gearbox at times, but I did just throw it together. I've not like Loctited it or meshed it properly or anything, so that could just be the mesh making the little grinding noise. We do have some curb rash on the wheels. The wheels are a little bit chipped, but we've got new wheels. Tyres kept blowing off. It did go for a tumble once down the side, which was like a bit of an accident. I honestly thought the stack would have broke, because every time I take these through the woods and I'm on the trails and stuff, and if they like just topple over and roll down the hill. But everything else has just seemed to have held up like really well. So I will end up pulling these apart, just double check them, make sure now it's stripped in there. I will check the gearbox in a moment when I put the poison motor back on there. Now, this is where I was kind of going to freshen him up and freshen up the chassis a bit, but then realistically the cab would want doing. And as I was saying, that takes away from the truck what I originally built it for. I want it to just look like an old rundown, just a working truck, you know. It's like in its restoration phase, it's just forever just being worked, broke, fixed, and in a state. And that's the character I love of this truck. So I've been pulling all this stuff out to refresh it, and then I kind of changed my mind. But also at the same time, my mind was changed on the tri-drive that we're doing here. Different colours. So when we was doing the tri-drive and we were stripping the chrome to paint the tanks black on that, what we did, we took the ones off this truck because the chrome had faded, as it has done on the grille. It had just faded, not like gone to black and pitted and stuff like it does on some parts where they're black underneath. That's a nice effect. But all these parts had just faded back to that yellowy plastic. So we thought we'd put the fresh tanks onto Rusty, paint them while they're already like half stripped anyway, rather than stripping a new set. And then that's what got me looking at Rusty, thinking I should really upgrade this because it was looking too shiny. Because the ideas have changed on the tri-drive and the colours, I am going to take the black tanks back off that, pop them onto Rusty for now, because I can strip them, paint them in like an aluminium colour. Dave said to like just weather the tanks and stuff when you do that, maybe put some like dents in them and stuff. So I thought, yeah, cool, I'll do that idea. But I really was tempted with the Grand Hauler tanks on this and giving him a new grille, which a grille I might do just because that's faded out, or I could just repaint that one because I like the fact it's broken, gives it character. So yeah, I'll probably just blast that. I'm going to put new mud guards on and things, but again, these have like the pitting and I like that. All this I'd got out with good intentions, like new air horns, new mirrors, all the little lights on the top, stuff like that. I was tempted to maybe go back to the original King Hauler visor or even a Grand Hauler visor, as I do have this one on. However, I am going to pop this Lesu one on Rusty. As I've had these out, it's given me the idea, and I have now sorted another box for later down the line when I have a couple of projects here which I'm currently filming and stuff. So using a lot of these parts will contribute towards this build. Either way, it's a win-win. It was the same with the Grand Hauler bumper. I thought that would look better on here, but then practicality through the woods, no. I do have a couple of bits that I am going to be putting on Rusty, like this GPM cross member thing for your rear suspension, may as well. And then a few years back when I was building the Grand Hauler behind me, the custom one, GPN sent me a load of parts, and these were obviously for King Haulers for the tanks and stuff, so I never used them on that. So I thought, they've been sat there for years. What else is there? Got a little stone guard for the window for it. Alloy wheels and tyres, so it should look good. The Grand Hauler, I'll get more into that in another video, but basically I am tempted to put that back onto an original Grand Hauler chassis, just because of how proportioned the truck looks. I don't know. Decisions. That's why it's took 7 years and it's still not built yet, because I still don't know what I'm doing with it all this time later. So sometimes it is good to leave a few years, maybe 10, 15 years, so you can decide what you're doing with your builds, because that's sometimes what it gets like. I did get these Scale Club tanks for it. They're actually globe liner tanks, but the diameter is fatter than the globe liner, and the diameter is fatter than the standard Grand Hauler tanks. They're just not as wide, but they do sit under the sleeper a lot more snug than the Grand Hauler tanks. The only thing left I need to get for this is some steps and a nice rear bumper. There's other stuff around me which you'll see coming to the channel soon, but these, my builds from now on, are just going to be scratch built from parts. I'm just getting random parts and collecting random parts, chassis, you name it, just getting them in, stocking up, and just randomly building random trucks. A couple of them I will keep for myself. This one, possibly a couple more depending, but a lot of the trucks I am going to be building are going to be for raffle, where you can win them. So you can head to raffle. I'll drop the links in the description. I do have a Tamiya Grand Hauler kit, one of these, but the Grand Hauler, brand new, in the box, ready for you to build, and you can win that for just £1 a ticket. So guys, head over to raffle, grab yourself some tickets, and good luck on winning a truck. It's amazing how you can start off with an idea for one truck, and then before you know it, you are building multiple trucks. So yeah, we're going to leave the old rusty air horn, leave one missing. I'm unsure what to do with the roof, whether to just smooth that completely out. I am going to be pulling the back out, which I've put in, and getting one with a window. I want a little window in there. The air cleaners, I think I should change and put these Grand Hauler air cleaners on. I think they would just genuinely look a lot better. Yeah, we'll rock with them. New wipers. I'm happy with a broken wiper and a missing wiper. That now basically just leaves me with what we have here. I've printed some of these so I can cut the headlights out of the arches on the front there and stick them in the back and then fill them, smooth them, and then we have more a Pete style. Another reason why I wasn't too bothered about using the grill is because I'll be getting a Transformers grill for it. I don't know if you've seen them, but the way this truck's changed and transformed just seemed like the perfect option for this truck. And it's more of a Pete style grill because its headlights are on little brackets on the grill itself and not the arches. Gives it more that authentic feel. So I think I've rambled on enough. I think you guys have a bit of an idea of what's going off with the channel now. So you might understand why it's a little bit quiet at times, because I'm not just pumping out and milking the content. I mean, I can do if you want me to. If you want like videos every other day, I can do that, but I'd rather just try and gather what I can to put into a video to make it a bit more quality for yourselves. Hi buddy. You seen the size of this dude now? How old are you now? 8 months? Yeah. So back to Rusty. Get it stripped down, get that in, get the wheels on, whatever else. Let's do this. The chassis stripped down. We've got the rear suspension bit out, ready for the fresher one to go in. The gearbox was absolutely sound as a pound. I think it was just down to the mesh. So we got that motor back in there. We've got the tanks off the tri-drive, the tanks off this, back on the tri-drive. Just need to swap the little mounting brackets over, and the body work on the arches will do another day. Probably get a video out of that. That might just make like a nice how-to on the headlamp conversion delete thingamadoof. And it's just pretty plain sailing from here on out. This one seems a lot nicer than this one. Bit sturdier, a little more weight on the back end, just a little bit more traction, but nah. It's Rusty, he deserves a treat. I did swap the air cleaners on the cab as well. I mean, look at them, they look well better. And need to remove the fake rust. Well, it's real rust, but yeah. That's in there now. It's quite a nice looking thing, to be honest with you. So there's the black tanks. I honestly don't think they look right. I think I might just... yeah, most definitely these tanks. So now do I replace these or not? You're going to have to help me out in the comments. See, there's with the black tank. I haven't swapped that side yet. Let me know, guys. What do I do? Do I just refresh him and keep the cab just still in primer and just refresh the chassis? I don't know what to do. He does look better with some beefy alloy wheels on there for sure. I am going to get him some stacks. I've seen some lesser stacks that I like, so he will be having new stacks. The roof, I don't know, do I put new air horns on the roof and flush it, or do I have the lights on the roof and wire some lights into it maybe? I'm lost. So that's Rusty at that stage for the minute. Like I say, unsure on the shininess. It kind of makes me just keep wanting to do the cab, but don't forget about that for now. Probably would like to end up replacing these with the lesser tanks and arches and stuff. The headlight delete, do that separately another time, just to show you guys how to do that, because it's like cutting, filling and bodywork sort of things. I was just going to fit these, but as they're not necessarily a direct bolt-on visor, and you do have like a hell of a lot of little nuts and screws in there to contend with, and that just ain't like a direct bolt on. You do have to make little modifications and drill and stuff like that to fit it. I do have a couple of other little bits for Rusty, so I thought I can do these few bits in another video, just because it's more of a how-to. Like I say, it requires drilling and stuff like that. You're not using existing holes or mounting points or anything else, so you do have to build up some confidence to drill your truck for this. The visor looks to take quite a lot along the roof. If you want to win one of these, but the Grand Hauler version, this particular one, brand new kit in the box, then head over to raffle, £1 a ticket, and this could be yours. That was that one. We've proved that a Tamiya truck can fly, and it was absolutely epic. You got some little treats. So although it got a little bit of a paste in, This thing weighs a hell of a lot more now, which will be good in the woods for that extra little bit of traction. Drive axle up the front maybe. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with that one there. So I do thank you all for watching if you have made it this far through the video. And I'll catch you in the next one, which I think might be a video going on around here somewhere. So, ciao for now, guys.